The year is 2014, and YouTube launches the last of its great vintage toy restoration channels. In a freak mishap, toy-polloi is thrown out of the forums and into an orbit which freezes his internet access, returning toy-polloi to our screens 500 years later.
Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and today we're going to be working on making a new cape for vintage MEGO Buck Rogers Draco figure. Now the MEGO Buck Rogers line is a really nice line to collect, and it's a very easy line to collect because they don't have a lot of accessories. In fact, the only accessory that they come with is Draco's cape, and more often than not, if you find the Draco figure, he will look like this without the yellow cape, and it's actually taken me an incredibly long time to find a loose one with the cape. And I have to say a massive thank you straight away to Kevin from Zonista Studios, who actually tracked this one down for me. For many years the only version I had of Draco with a cape was this carded version that I picked up off eBay, but when it arrived it was in too good condition for me to want to remove it from the card, so I've basically had a loose version without a cape and this one on display behind it. But today I thought I would make a new cape for this spare one that I have now, because it looks like a fairly simple design, and I'm sure with a little bit of work and a little bit of cutting we can make something that looks exactly like that original one there. The cape is actually a fairly simple design, simpler even than Star Wars capes. It doesn't have any holes cut for the arms, they've just cut a couple of slits. If I take this cape off, you can see that when I lay it flat it is a single piece of fabric just with two slits cut down the back of it, and that's what goes over the arms. So really the hardest thing with making a cape like this is finding a material that is very similar to the original, and after a little bit of searching I found some stuff on eBay which I have bought, which is just called SMLT nylon fabric. I bought a tiny sample of it. It didn't seem worth buying a big sheet of it because you can buy a sample of it. This cost me 99p for a 15 by 15 centimetre piece, and this is what has arrived. It looks absolutely perfect. It's quite a thin material. This material is incredibly thin. It's the same sort of colour. In fact, this yellow matches the carded version more than this loose version. I think this loose version has faded a little bit, but the overall match is pretty much perfect. So we're going to be using this as the basis for our new cape. So what I need to do is make a pattern. I'm going to take this into Photoshop. I'll scan it in on a flatbed scanner and we will make a pattern from that. Well, that didn't take as long as I thought, because when I started to make the pattern it reminded me of another cape pattern that I'd made very recently for the Star Trek the Motion Picture MEGO Betelgeusian or Betelgeuse figure for a subscriber that had asked me to help him finish off one of his figures. And when I actually compared Draco's cape to that cape, they are exactly the same. The pattern is exactly the same. So all I've done here is I've printed out the cape for the Star Trek MEGO figure, and it really is exactly the same. It just shows that MEGO were very sort of careful in what they designed. They didn't have to make new tools to cut out a cape, they just reused something. So this is the same cape as the Betelgeusian or Betelgeuse figure, and we're just going to use this pattern to make a new cape for Draco. So here you can see I have printed out that file onto a piece of A4 paper. What I'm going to do is cut around this. Once it's all cut out, I'm then actually just going to trace this onto the nylon. Normally I would stick it on with a bit of double-sided tape, but I have a feeling the double-sided tape will cause this to fray, so I will trace this on with a pencil and cut it out. The first thing to do though is get this pattern cut out. Now that I have the pattern cut out, I'm actually going to trace it onto this piece of nylon. As I say, I think this nylon will fray quite a lot. If I try to stick some tape on it and then pull the tape off, it will end up sort of pulling the threads apart on the side. So the easiest way is just to take a pencil and trace around it. You don't have to be particularly neat, but you want to sort of just mark the fabric enough that you can see it and then we can tidy this up as we sort of cut through. I've also got to mark the 2 slits where the armholes need to be. I've already cut that with a knife, so I'm just going to carefully again just push the pencil through those slits and make a little mark, and then we'll just cut it out again with a pair of scissors, and I think we will end up with a cape that looks just as good as the original. And there we go, there is the cape. You can see I cut those 2 slots with a knife and a ruler. It was just easier to do that than cutting it with a pair of scissors. So let's put this onto the Draco figure and we'll see what it looks like. It should look exactly the same as the original as far as I can see. It's the same sort of fabric and it's exactly the same pattern. Yeah, there we go. So that's an original cape, and that is my handmade cape using some modern nylon fabric and a pattern that was also used for a Star Trek figure. I think that really does look exactly like the original, and as I say, the colour matches my carded version of the figure much better. So yeah, very pleased with that, and a very simple cape to make. And here is the finished Draco figure with the rest of my Buck Rogers collection. As you can see, the cape really does make him look like they wanted him to look back in the day. This is a pretty easy one to do. I will put the file to make the cape pattern available for free on toy-polloi.com, so if you want to make capes for your own Draco figure, go and check that out. The material you need, as I say, is a nylon fabric. This small piece cost me all of 99p, and I think I can actually get 4 capes out of it, so it's pretty good value. So the next time I see a Draco without his cape, I think I'll grab him, because I know I have the material now to fix up a few more. If you found this video interesting, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.